Hi, good morning. Welcome to another video. In this video, we'll be talking about repeatability, how to calculate using Excel and intelligent reporting. So before we get started, please help me to subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate that. And so let's get into that the topic today. Okay, so we'll be talking about repeatability. Okay, let's first look at the definition of repeatability. If you look at ASTM, it will tell you definition is this is repeatability is the difference between two successive runs or results obtained by the same operator, the same equipment, the same acquisition, the same data analysis method, the same sample, and even the same sample preparation. Okay, basically everything the same. Okay, and the one I need to highlight over here is two successive. So that means it's either run 1 and run 2, or run 2 and run 3, or run 3 and run 4. It's not like run 1 and run 3 and etc. Okay. Okay. So our definition is rather simple over here. So as far as I have seen, there are three cases that you can see in when it comes to calculation of the repeatability criteria. So case one is relatively simple. It will give you kind of like, it will tell you whether the allowable difference between the two runs is a constant number. So the constant number could be an absolute number or it could be a relative number. So in case of this is an absolute number, the calculation is quite simple. It's just the difference between run 1 and run 2, and that difference must be smaller than the constant specified up here, right? Or if it's relative number, then it will run 1 minus run 2 times 100% divided by run 1, right? Or sometimes you divide by the average here, but okay, but here we take run 1 just to make it easy, okay? And then this whole thing have to be smaller than the constant specified on top here, right? So that is case 1. So this is, you can see this in quite a few methods. They will ask you to do something like this. Case 2 is a little bit more complicated, where the allowable difference is concentration dependent. What I mean by that is they might give you something like this table, right? And depending on the concentration of the compounds that you're running. So because you have two runs, so most of the time the concentration is the average of the two runs, right? So if the average of the two runs is less than a specific numbers over here, in this case, let's say it's less than 0.1, the criteria is this number, right? And then if it's more than 0.1 but less than 1, will be this number, blah, blah, something like that. So that's why I say it's concentration dependent, right? Then the third case is a lot more complicated. It's not only concentration dependent, but it's also compound dependent. So what I mean by that is they may give you a table, something like this. Okay, they give you a list of compounds that you are going to analyze in your equipment. Then they give you this kind of formula over here. So this X over here is the concentration. So that's why you see the concentration dependent. But also that you see for every compound, they have different formula. So that's why it's compound dependent as well. So we have three cases. I think that these three cases should cover almost everything you could see when it comes to repeatability criteria or calculation. Okay, so I'm going to cover all three of these in the calculation, but because all three will be a bit long, so I will be doing one by one in each video. Okay, so today will be video number 1, which is about case 1 over here, which is a constant right here. Okay, so as normal, we go through the Excel calculation first, then from there we'll bring the work into our intelligent reporting, right? So let's get started. Okay, so let me jump right into Excel. All right, so this is I create something like a table like this, so it's make things easier to see. Okay, so let's say you see something saying like the criteria is like here, the difference is not more than 1% relative. So what that means is, let's go back to this one. That means relative over here. So that's we run 1 minus run 2 times 1 divided by run 1 less than the constant, right? Okay, so let's go into this. So you need the data for run 1 and run 2. So in this case, I'm going to copy a data that I've ran before, and I will just copy this number over, and that will be here, right? Okay, so you don't need the average over here. And I say sometimes you can take the average formula to replace this run 1 over here, but most of the time people will just be using run 1 minus run 2 divided by run 1 like this. So we'll be sticking to this formula. Okay, so we don't need the average. The allowable difference is that is 1%. Okay, that's 1%. So I put 1 for every of this over here. Okay, and the difference over here is again that will be the absolute. So you need to put in absolutes over here because sometimes run 1 is smaller than run 2. So you get a negative number. So that's not correct. So that's why you need to put the ABS over here, which is the absolute, right? Then you times 100, and then you divide by the run 1 again. Okay, so that will be the difference between the two runs over here. Then you scroll down, then you get all this like this, right? Okay. So this is the allowable difference. This is the difference between the two runs, and then pass and fail is basically whether the difference is smaller than this one or not. So we can put like an if statement here. So if the difference is less than or equal to the allowable difference, we give it a pass, right? And otherwise it will be a fail. All right, this. There you go. And I just scroll down everything. So we get a fail, 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 pass, fail, thing like that. Okay, this is just an example. It's not a real data. So you might see a lot of fails over here, but that's not true. Okay, and then the last step, you may want to do something that you can perform the conditional formatting for this. So I can do something like this: test the contents. If it's a pass, then I give it like green color. Then I give one more. If it's a fail, okay, I give it light red color here. So it looks something like this, right? So this is how you do the calculation in Excel with it. And I say case 1 is very simple, and I think you'll be seeing this case quite often as well. Okay. All right. So let's jump right in to intelligent reporting, and we will try to replicate this performance, this calculation, sorry, for this kind of calculation, right? So let's get into that. Here you go. So this is my Chemstation screen. Over here I have 3 runs. So as I say, I will be calculating either run 1 and run 2, or run 2 and run 3. Okay. Okay, so what I'm going to do, let me perform a calculation on run 1 and run 2. So what I'm going to do, I will highlight these two, and then right click and send selection to report layout. That will allow me to preview the result almost immediately. Right? So, okay. All right, so let's start from beginning. Let's go to file, then new report template. Okay, so report types over here, we are going to use single sequence summary. It's not single injection because we want to do a calculation from 2 data from the same sequence. So that means it's a single sequence summary here. Okay, and then down here, I'm going to choose landscape because I might have a lot of columns to show. Right, so I'm going to choose landscape over here. So okay. All right, so here our template, right? So the first item I want to perform is I will add the sequence summary, sample summary, so that it will show me what runs do I have in my sequence. Let's preview that. Okay, I have 2 runs over here because I select only run 1, run 2, so I have all of this. You can go ahead and delete all of this column if you don't want to, but I'm not going to do that in this video because we focus more on the calculation, right? So let's start the calculation. Go back to this one, and to perform the calculation, we need to have this value run 1 and then run 2 concentration. So in order to do that, what you need to do, you go to table, go to picks and compounds, then you click on compound results and drag it over, right? Okay, let me show you preview. Okay, you will see that every compound is kind of like duplicated because basically we have 2 runs. So that's why the software will just show up both of them over here. So that is not so nice. So what I'm going to do is I will need to add something called a filter so that I will not just, I can use something like, you go to filtering here, then you select sample here, then acquisition order number is the one we can use. Okay, so I want this table to be only run number one. So I add one over here, right? Let me show you how. Then, okay, so here you have only one, right? So that will be run number one, the data for run number one. And again, we just need to have the amount column, right? We just need the final concentration. We don't need all of this. So what we can do, we can go ahead and delete all of this. Go back to column here, click retention time, delete, move it back, hide. So I don't need. This is the only column that I need to. So let me show you something over here. This is the header. I will just put amount. This will be easier. Otherwise, it will be too long, right? And then the compound amount here. And as I say over here, we need to save this number in order for us to perform the calculation. And how do we save that? Okay, we just hit save expression result as. Okay, so in this case, we will save this one as a variable, right? And we can put a name over here. I can put like amount one, which is amount run one. And if you only do something like this, the software will only save only one compound amount for you, which is the last compound amount, because it will keep overwriting, right? So that's if you want to like assign, you want the software to save the concentration of every particular compound, you need to add something called a unique key value over here. And in this case, we want to choose something called compound name, right? So you go to compound and you select compound name like this, double click on it, something like this. So the amount one will be specific by the compound name, right? So let's say NH10 will have amount one number, and then N10 will have amount one, right? Okay, I'm going to save this. Then I say OK. I'm going to say OK from here. I'm going to say OK. Okay. All right. So let me pull out another table that will show you what I meant by that. Okay. And now here again, I'm going to go to filtering and I will choose only one of them, sample and acquisition order number here. And then expression, you can put whatever number you want over here. You can put 1, 2, or 3, it doesn't matter. Okay, you can choose 1. Okay, I need a column. Let me delete everything from here. Okay, so let me do, let me show you this. So let's say I call this column is amount run 1, something like this. Okay, and here I can do, because I saved the variable just now under over here, variable is amount over here, but when you double click on it, it will show you something in the bracket here, compound name. So that's why I say it's specific, it's compound specific, right? So let me click OK, say OK, and let me preview the item, then you will see that. Okay, this is the one that we saved just now, and this is what I call out back again. You see, the number will be the same over here, all right? So that's how we save this number and we call out the numbers over here, all right? So that's amount number 1. Let's repeat the same step for amount number 2, because you need run 2 as well before we start the calculation, right? And again, here, I'm going to this and filtering over here. I just put sample acquisition order number, double click on it, and the value I want to put number 2, because I'm doing run 1 and run 2, so that will be 2 over here. I'll say OK. Oh, sorry, we need to delete all of this column, right? Because we don't need all of them. Go to retention time, remove error count, remove height, remove RF, remove. Again, under the amount, we go to column properties, and we change this one to amount 2, right? And then this is compound amount, which is the concentration that we have, and I'm going to save those numbers. Again, it's variable. I will put this one is amount 2, right? And then unique key value, again, it will be compound name, right? You can type in like this, or you just select from the drop down menu just now. Okay, compound name, something like this. Say OK, save, OK, say OK, OK. There you go. So you have run 1 over here, and then you have run 2 over here. Okay. Then what you can do, you can add them together into this same table down here. Okay. So I will add another column. Then you have, I go to column properties for this one. Okay, then I will have this one. I can call it this one amount run to, something like this. Say OK. And then down here, the value, I will have the variables here. I have amount to right here. Again, you will see compound name over here is compound specific just now because we add a unique key value just now, right? Okay. Say OK. Say OK. Let's preview the report form. Okay, so there's two runs that we save, then we have two runs in the same table now. So that looks pretty much the same as this, right? So now we can start to perform the calculation that we need to, right? Okay, so let's go to this. Then we're gonna add one more column to this one, and that will be, we could call it a difference, right? Okay, how we call it, a calculated difference. Then we have another column called allowable difference, right? Calculated difference. And that will be the formula. Yeah, it's the same one over here. Now, the difference between two runs, or you can look at the formula from here as well. Okay, let me go to that. And so that would be ABS, which is absolute of run 1 right here, then minus run 2, which is here, and then times 100, and then divide by run 1. Okay, run 1 right here. Okay, so there you go. You have the absolute difference like this. Say OK, and you say OK. Okay, there you have a difference. And then you want to have one more column, which is called allowable difference. So I go to the header over here. I put a allowable difference, something like this. And then if you look back at the we saved 1%. So I'm going to put only 1. I just put 1 like this. Okay. Say OK. And then we need one more column to say whether it's pass or fail. Then we go into this column and then show pass or fail. That will be pass, fail, something like this. Okay, so under the formula is an if statement. So I'm going to copy because the formula is a bit long. So I'm going to copy this, the whole calculated difference over here so that I don't need to retype again. Okay, I go back to that pass and fail column. Then we put them into the if statement, right? IIF again, it's not INF, it must be IIF, right? So so I'm going to copy because there's an equal sign here. I need to remove it. Okay, so this is the difference that now we calculated, and if this one is less than or equal to the lower difference in this case, which is 1%, I put 1 there. That will be a pass. Otherwise, it will be a fail, right? Then, okay, something like this. Let's say, okay. And then you want to do the last thing is conditional formatting for this column as well. So let's do that. So in order to do conditional formatting, what you need to do is just copy the whole thing over here in the expression editor. Copy that, say okay. Then you go to conditional formatting down here. And then under condition, you click on the FS. Then you copy back paste the formula just now. And if this whole thing is pass, and then if that is pass, you go to format over here and you want to choose that one. Let's say if you pass, you want green, so you just type yellow green, that's fine. Okay. If it's fail, again paste over here. If that is fail, what I'm going to do is I give it red color. Go to color here, red right here. Okay, something like this. So it's pass, green, fail, red. Okay, I'm happy with that. Let's say okay, and I want to go to okay. Let's say okay and see how things look like first. Okay, review. Okay, so down here you have everything. So you have run 1, run 2, calculated difference, the allowable difference. Then you have pass and fail over here, right? So everything is perfect. So we just need to rearrange everything a bit nicer. So first of all, these two tables, we don't need to show them up. So what I'm going to do, right click on it, properties, then you go to advanced, then you uncheck the visible box right here. And the same thing, we will rate out like this. Same thing for this table. Then go to visible, okay. All right, and this one, you want to arrange the column so that you have more space for everyone. Call run 1, run 2, then calculate the difference, something like this. The allowable difference, like this. Okay, then you have pass and fail. Okay, and then I want to add like a border for all of them. So I'm going to go to format over here. Then you can choose whatever predefined format style that you can choose for here. I would go for colorful, right? Say okay, right there, and then you can preview the data right now. All right, so that looks pretty good right now. So what you have is 2 runs over here, run 1 and run 2. And then you have NHSN, IV10, thing like that, every compound over here. Then you have run 1, run 2, the difference between these 2 runs in terms of percents. So you can add the units over here to make more sense over here if you want to. Then allowable difference 1, then whichever less than 1 we will pass, whichever greater than 1 we will fail. So that is the way we do the repeatability verification for case 1, which is very, very simple, right? So once you're happy with all this, you can save the template. Let's say I call it repeat case 1, right? Say okay, I'm happy with all this. Then go back to data analysis. And let me show you how to add that template we created just now into the sequence, right? So here's the data that I wanted to perform the calculation. I want to do run 1, run 2 in the calculation just now. So what you want to do is you want to go to sequence and select sequence parameters on top here. Then you go to sequence output. And then you want to take the print sequence summary report down here. What we are using is intelligent reporting, so you check this box. Okay, then you click the browse button and you look for the one you just saved. So that I did repeat case 1, right? Repeat case 1 down here. You move it over right there. Say okay. Then down here you can select whatever other option you want to, like printer, different format, different extension, and preview and print individual reports if you want to. Okay, and say okay. Then it will ask you to save the sequence over here. Just hit the save button. Then you can process the sequence. And then you hit this button, you go to sequence and select start processing. Okay. Then you wait for a while. In software, we go through one by one, and then we add the sequence summary that we created just now. Run 1, run 2, then run 3, right? And then we generate the report. Let me go back to that one. Okay, there you go. So this is a report that we did just now, right? So we have 3 runs over here, but we want to perform a calculation based on run 1 and run 2 only, right? So that is a very useful and I think it's a very nice way to create this kind of report. So we don't need to copy all this data into Excel to perform the calculation anymore. Everything we can perform the task easily in this Chemstation. So that would be easier, and we don't have any like typo errors or human errors when they transfer these numbers to Excel, right? Okay, so that is video number 1. We talk about case 1, and we have video number 2 and video number 3 as well. So stay tuned to that. And let me know in the comments if you have any question or you have any difficulties generating this report. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel for many more videos to come, right? So thank you very much for watching, and I see you in the next video. Bye bye.